All right, well, happy Friday, Central Georgia. This is Meteorologist Ansley Parker here. I am in for Alex on this Friday morning. We are still going to take a look at the extended forecast here into the weekend, and then also beyond that. I will go ahead and just off the bat say, I apologize if every now and then I have to clear my throat. I am coming off of some weird spring sickness that really took me out for the past couple of days. So I'm doing my best to get my voice back into the game, but just kind of bear with me as we go throughout the rest of the stream. But with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the forecast here. Now, these are the sky cams across the area right now. And it is just a picture perfect day. Now, this is no surprise. The last couple of days have pretty much been exactly like what you're waking up to or what you started your day with early this morning. It is just a nice scene, blue skies across every single sky cam, and that's pretty much how every day so far this week has gone. So you'll notice a lot of similarities from the last couple of days to what you will experience today in the way of temperatures, in the way of cloud cover, and definitely in the way of rain chances. But this is kind of a big picture of what's going on across the eastern half of the United States in terms of temperatures. You'll notice the thing that jumps out at you the most is this dividing line right here. And this is actually a cold front. Now, you may have heard about this cold front because it is spurring up some severe weather chances for places that are further to the west of us. By the time this cold front gets to us, it's actually going to completely die out. So this is kind of the main feature that's going on across the U.S. right now, causing some severe weather chances and obviously also causing a big temperature difference as well. I mean, just from St. Louis to Kansas City, we're seeing a 20-degree temperature difference behind this front versus ahead of us. Now, like I said, that front's really not going to impact us much. What's impacting us is the dominant high pressure system that will be over us for the next couple of days and well into the work week as well. You can kind of see the direction of the winds here, just emphasizing that this high pressure system is the thing that is taking over our area. And because of that, the temperatures across the state of Georgia are all fairly similar. In fact, we're close to what's going on in the Carolinas and over in Alabama as well. It's mainly mid to upper 60s here in our area. Down in South Georgia, we do see a couple of 70s. But overall, this is a very familiar number for 11 a.m. here in Central Georgia. The last couple of days have been like this, and the next couple of days will feel familiar. But we're actually going to turn the heat up a couple of degrees through the next few days. So temperatures across our area right now, pretty much all sitting in the mid 60s, which leads me to wonder if this Warner Robins number is actually correct. Sometimes we have issues with that Warner Robins sensor, and I have a hard time believing that they're stuck in the low 50s while everybody else is sitting in the mid 60s. So we'll go ahead and call that an anomaly because I don't think that that's right. We do have 170 on the board over in Vidalia, and otherwise everybody's just working their way there, but they will all get to the 70s, don't worry. As we go throughout the rest of the afternoon, these temperatures will warm up rather quickly. Now, yesterday, you probably noticed from time to time, we did have a pretty gusty day, and today that is not going to be the case. In fact, we actually had some stronger wind gusts for the last few days. But heading into the rest of your day today, the most we'll see with winds is a steady 5 to 10 mile an hour breeze. There's not going to be any crazy wind gusts like what you experienced yesterday. And you kind of can already tell just by the shading of this map. Typically when we get those strong gusts, the map tends to be a yellow or even an orange and a pink color. When we get this light blue color, that just means the winds are just nice and steady, a little breeze out there to kind of keep the day nice and comfortable. So that's what the winds will be doing. Now, I show you this humidity map. I know that there's basically nothing going on here. We're actually well into the dry category in terms of humidity, but I bring this up for a reason. I'm not just showing it just to show it. I want you to see that it is technically considered dry right now in terms of our humidity, but as we head into the upcoming work week, our humidity is going to be turning up the notch, and we'll probably start to see this enter the not bad category. And you'll be able to feel the humidity that we have as we go into the upcoming week. We're going to see a change in the wind direction. Again, that dominant high pressure system is just going to be so strong here in our area that we will start to see the humidity jump up a little bit. So I just show you that to show you right now it's comfortable, but keep in mind, we will see the humidity increase as we go into next work week. And I show you this to show you this is the new trend that we'll be on through the next few days. It's already a little bit warmer today than yesterday. Just 24 hours ago, we were sitting anywhere between, technically in Warner Robins, 1 to maybe 8 degrees cooler than we are right now. So we're sitting a bit warmer this afternoon, and this will be the trend. We're continuing to warm up as we head into the weekend. In fact, My big headline for today is that this is the last day that we are going to be in the 70s. Yesterday's high temperature was 74 degrees. The average for this time of year is 76 degrees. So pretty close to average for this time of year is what we did yesterday. Even in the morning, we were a little cooler than average. We've had these kind of cool starts here, but close enough. We're still somewhere in the 40s. But as we head into today, that 74 turns into a 78. So a little bit warmer today than yesterday, like you just saw on that 24-hour temperature change map. We're already feeling a little bit warmer at this time today than we were this time yesterday. But kind of the main thing that I want you to take away from today's high temperature is, yes, it's warmer, but we're still hovering around average for this time of year. The average temperature is 76 degrees. Today's high of 78 will still feel pretty comfortable overall. And again, it's going to feel comfortable compared to what's coming. Today's going to be the last day in the 70s. So if you are a fan of the more temperate, more comfortable, average, seasonable weather, go ahead and take advantage of today, because I'm telling you, on the 7-day forecast, I've had to forecast the highest numbers that I've had to so far this season. For some people, they're like, oh yes, I can't wait to see it. I know some other folks are thinking, oh, I'm not ready to see summer just yet. So we are going to warm up either way heading into the next few days, and sunshine will be around for your entire afternoon for Friday. So, you know, the sunshine that we've had all week continues with us into the weekend. You don't have to worry about missing out on it. If you had to be at work all week, we keep the sunshine around into the weekend, so you should be able to get out and enjoy that this weekend as well. Big picture satellite and radar, that dome of high pressure is keeping us nice and boring. So I went really wide to kind of find some activity here on the satellite and radar. And it's just that front that we just saw on the temperature map here. And you can see that it does have some showers along with it. Now, like I said, that is causing a little bit of a severe weather possibility over in different areas. Obviously, nothing's out there right now, but this is the front that will be driving some of that to other states. Now, unfortunately, not to us. Of course, we don't want severe weather, but you're going to see in a minute, we definitely do need some rainfall. So here in the southeast, boring as can be. I mean, this high pressure system is dominating the type of weather that we've had for the last few days and the type of weather that we will continue to have heading into the weekend and next work week as well. So of course that includes us here in central Georgia, dry and crystal clear as can be. This has the clouds removed, but even if the clouds were overlaid on this certain radar, I mean, you would still see just about nothing. We have got a very, very clear picture in terms of sky cover today, and luckily that clear sky cover is going to continue for the weekend as well. In fact, forgive me, but I did not even, or actually I did throw pause points on this one. I don't think I threw pause points on the long range because there's really nothing to pause at. I threw Saturday morning in there just so you could see as we head into the weekend. Things are still staying nice and clear. In fact, I think I even threw Sunday morning in there just because. But both Saturday and Sunday are crystal clear days, so we do not have to worry about rain chances, but also we really don't have to worry about cloud cover either. I mean, these are two of the best looking days on the 7-day forecast. So I know we have the Magnolia Festival in Perry, or the Dogwood Festival, that's kicking off this weekend, excuse me. And then we also have the Magnolia Street Derby race. That's what I was thinking of here in Macon. So those two events do not have to worry about rain chances at all. And in fact, it will be a beautiful day for those things to go on and just all the other things that we got going on across central Georgia. It's going to be a beautiful weekend to do that. Now, here's the thing about rain chances here. They're going to be kind of a good and bad thing. It's nice that we can enjoy the forecast for the weekend, but we really do need some rainfall, which I'll talk about here in just a moment. But overall, like I said, two crystal clear days for Saturday and for Sunday in terms of the forecast. The only thing that you may want to know heading into the weekend is just that, like I was mentioning earlier, those numbers are going to start to feel a little bit more uncomfortable. If you think about it, we're going to hit a high temperature today of 78 degrees. Tomorrow, 84 degrees, 6 degrees warmer, is probably going to feel noticeably different. So we're in the 80s on Saturday. Regardless, you still have a cool-ish start to Saturday morning. Not quite as cool as what you experienced this morning, but still in the 40s, still around average for this time of year. So it will still feel a little bit cool, but that is going to have a very different afternoon attached to it. So 80s by tomorrow, and the 80s hang around into Sunday. So hopefully you're a little bit more used to it after experiencing Saturday, but we keep 80s around for Sunday as well. The difference is Sunday morning is not going to be quite as cool. We're going to go into the 50s as opposed to the 40s on Sunday morning, and those mornings are also going to keep getting warmer. So we're just in general, in the overnight lows and in the afternoon highs, we are trending away towards average for this time of year in the warmer direction. So that's going to be the trend here for the next few days. But your weekend, I mean, it is looking great as long as you can bear the heat. But like I said, rain chances are still something that we need in the forecast. So we look to the long term to see if there's any rain chances. And the spoiler alert, and if you've been watching Alex at all this week, you probably already know that in the long-term forecast, there is still no major rain chance. In fact, not even just a major rain chance, there's no rain chance at all. And this is the future view that I did not put a pause point on because there is nothing to pause on. This will take you early Monday morning all the way into Friday afternoon, and you will see features that try to come close to our state that fall apart before they can actually even get to the state line. So a very quiet future view here. That high pressure system is just so dominant in our area. It's going to be taking over the forecast for the foreseeable future. So that's Monday all the way through Friday of next week. Of course, there's no rain chances this Saturday or Sunday. So that means your 7-day, it is crystal clear, completely dry all the way through the work week next week, which means temperatures will be our bigger focus for the next couple of days. But either way, even with no rain chances in the forecast, it's still something that we need to talk about because we need rainfall very badly. You probably already know that, but let's talk about just how badly we need it. Now, right now you're looking at the rainfall totals so far this month. I just kind of want to show you where we stand in terms of temperatures for the month. We've seen at an inch of rainfall here in the Macon-Bibb area over the month of April. Now, it's April 10th. We've still got a lot of time left in the month, but for us to be on average for this month, which, spoiler alert, we haven't hit average for the last 3 months. In fact, the last 8 months of the year of 2025, we didn't hit average. So we are well below average for the year in 2026. But for us to hit average in the month of April, maybe we can turn the tides around. We need to see over 3.5 inches of rainfall. Now, it's a bigger story than just the month of April. Like I just mentioned, the year finished out very dry last year, and it started out very dry this year in central Georgia. And it's not only just a central Georgia problem, it's really a state of Georgia problem. But here in central Georgia specifically, we are in some really strong drought conditions. Now, the luckiest, or the areas that have got the lowest drought conditions, are kind of over here in our north and eastern counties. It's really mainly Washington into Baldwin. There's this pocket of abnormally dry conditions. Otherwise, pretty much everybody is sitting in a drought. Now, our northern counties definitely have the lower end of the scale here. This is a moderate drought, and you can notice on the scale that is kind of the second category, but we go all the way into the last and most extreme category, which is an exceptional drought. Now, kind of the center portion of central Georgia here is in an extreme drought, and then we start talking about or a severe drought, I should say, and then we start talking about our extreme to exceptional drought. Now, the exceptional drought really only creeps into portions of Telfair, Wheeler, and Montgomery, but it is a concern nonetheless. And an extreme drought is also very strong, and that is in a lot of majority of our southern and our western counties as well. So, you know, the story is we are in some pretty strong drought conditions. We have been in drought conditions since September of last year. So the National Weather Service just gave us some additional information on where we stand in terms of the drought on April 1st. They kind of did a census of where things stand right now across the entire state. They determined that as of April 1st, this is now a record intense drought across the state. In fact, it's the state's most significant drought since 2011. So this is becoming a drought that could potentially make history here across the entire state. And in Macon specifically, we've already broken a record for very, very dry conditions. So the statistic that you're looking at on the screen right now is the rainfall totals measured from September 1st all the way to April 1st. So it is a record in the sense that it is the lowest amount of recorded rainfall between that time frame. We only saw just over 12 inches of rainfall from all of that time, September all the way to April. So that is a new record low for that stretch of time. And it's not the only place that hit a record low. I believe Columbus was included in that as well, and different portions of the state also had record low amounts of rainfall during that time frame. So big picture, the story is the drought situation definitely has become a little bit more significant than just, oh, you know, we're in drought conditions here in the area. We really do need some rainfall. In fact, to give you perspective of how much rainfall we need to see, we need to have roughly an inch to maybe an inch and a half every single week for 3 months in order to correct our drought conditions. So if we're not doing that, then the drought conditions are effectively going to get worse until they can start getting better. So that does include this week. I know it sounds like a lot of bad news that I'm dumping, but I just want to kind of be clear about where things stand right now. So as we go through this week and it remains dry, unfortunately, that does mean our drought conditions are actually probably going to worsen a bit as we go through the week. So if we come back to the drought monitor next week, and it's updated and things look a little bit worse than this week, it shouldn't come as a major shock. Again, unless we're getting an inch to an inch and a half of rainfall within a week, we're not really doing what we need to do in order to correct these conditions. So that's kind of where things stand right now. It is not all hope is lost. Will have rain chances back in the forecast eventually, but that is definitely something that we're going to be paying attention to and probably talking a lot about as we go through the next couple of weeks. Spoiler alert, there is potentially going to be a very dry couple of weeks ahead of us here. We just saw the upcoming week of April, and that is the one that we're kind of looking at. We're looking just beyond what you just looked at on the long-range models, and we're still expected to see below normal amounts of rainfall per the Climate Prediction Center. So in general, right now it's shaping up like April probably will be another below average month. And in general, what I kind of want you to think is just things are probably going to get worse before they get better. Now, we're likely to see rainfall increase, especially as we head into summer and fall, and I'll tell you why here in just a moment. But unfortunately, for our kind of springtime situation, we're just in such a deficit that things are probably going to get a little bit worse before they can get better, but they eventually will get better. So this is kind of the situation for the month of April, probably expected to be a dry month, which means we're going to focus on the temperatures while there's not a ton to talk about in the rainfall department. So as the dry weather continues, we're going to talk about how warm we're going to get. And I said earlier, I forecasted the warmest temperatures that I have so far this season. So let's talk about that just for a minute. We'll move on from the rainfall, the drought conditions here for just a moment and focus in on the temperatures instead. So remember, an important fact here is that the average high temperature for this time of year is 76 degrees. So we're supposed to be hanging out in the mid 70s in the afternoons. But as we head into the weekend and really as we head into next week, actually beyond Tuesday, we are going to make those numbers keep on climbing. So it starts this weekend. I already showed you the weekend outlook. Saturday and Sunday are both going to be in the mid 80s. So that is going to be very, very warm. As we head into the work week, we're going to hang out in the 80s. Tuesday, a high temperature of 86. I'll go ahead and tell you, I'm going to show you the 7-day forecast here in a moment, but the Wednesday and Thursday, so just beyond the days that I have listed here on the afternoon highs, those are both forecasted to be in the upper 80s. And Friday, which is beyond the 7-day forecast at this point in time, most models were calling for a high temperature of 90 degrees. So we're starting to get to that way above average time frame here. And I told you it's because of the shifts that we're going to have in the wind direction. We're going to be getting a lot more warm air filtered into our area. And it is going to feel pretty warm for our kind of mid-April time frame that we're in right now, especially when the average is supposed to be in the 70s, and especially when we've been sitting in the 70s over the last couple of days. So don't let this come as a major shock to you. It will be very warm through the work week. In fact, as we head into next weekend, it's going to be extremely warm. So I would go ahead and start thinking, okay, should I make it to the pool next week? If you've got kids who are going to be out and about in the afternoon, start thinking about things you can do with them to keep them cool, because it is going to be a pretty warm week, not only in the afternoons, but also in the mornings. Now, the mornings are not going to be super crazy. The average morning low for this time of year is between 49 degrees and 50 degrees. So we've actually been trending on the lower side of that for the last couple of days. We've been hanging out in the low 40s most mornings. That's definitely been a little bit chilly in the late nights and the early mornings. I've myself had to grab a light sweater on the way out the door every morning because it's been a little bit chilly, but we're going to start trending away from that. So by the weekend, we're actually going to be hovering much closer to average for this time of year. Upper 40s, low 50s. The weekend is going to feel like what it should for this time of year. But beyond that, then we're going to start having those kind of warm, humid mornings that we're used to having in the summertime. Nothing quite as warm as what we experience in the summer, but in general, it's going to feel a lot warmer than the last couple of days. So a warming trend is something that should also not come as a major shock to you, because that's just going to be the situation that we're under for the next couple of days. And with little relief in the way of rainfall, it just gives the opportunity for those numbers to keep on climbing. So in the long term here, we're talking a little bit beyond the numbers that I just showed you. We are expected to be, per the Climate Prediction Center, well above average for this time of year. And I just showed you that. It's meaning we're going to see temperatures that are in the upper 80s by the time we get to the later portion of next work week, and we'll probably hang out there through next weekend as well. Maybe we'll see a 90. I'm not totally sure just yet, but there are definitely 90s in the models as we look out into the long-term forecast. So very warm numbers ahead of us here with little rainfall. We're just going to be in some pretty dry and humid conditions as we go into the next couple of days. Now, you likely heard about this from Alex yesterday, but we officially have the first outlook at the 2026 hurricane season. Hard to even believe that we're talking about that, but it is not far from now. In fact, it is only 52 days from now. The first day of hurricane season is always on June 1st. It peaks in September, and then the whole season subsides as we head into the end of November. So as we head towards hurricane season, a couple of forecasts that we look at very closely. The NOAA forecast, so that is the National Weather Service, and what they talk about and how they think the season's going to go, obviously holds a lot of weight. But also, Colorado State University is a forecast that typically performs very, very well, and they are the ones who just released their outlook yesterday. So we're kind of taking a look at what they thought and seeing how that's going to apply to the 2026 season. So in order to kind of understand the season as a whole, we'll start with the averages. Now, this is going to tell you piece by piece. So tropical storms, hurricanes, and major hurricanes are the three categories. The average number of tropical storms that we typically see is 14, average number of hurricanes is 7, and average number of major hurricanes is 3. So without further ado, here is the forecast from the Colorado State University team. And you'll notice just by one in each category, but this is a below average forecast, which actually is good news for us. But we did actually have a quiet 2025 season. Meteorologist Ansley Parker made this graphic, and she did a great job because she kind of explained how the 2025 season went as well. We were below average in the number of tropical storms that we saw and the number of hurricanes. Now, we did have one more major hurricane than average, but important to note, we did not have any U.S. landfalling hurricanes in 2025. I believe the last time that we did that was sometime around 2010. So it was kind of a historic year for the U.S. in the sense that it was a pretty quiet hurricane season. So for us to have another below average hurricane season in the forecast and is not really coming as a major shock to us because last season was actually fairly quiet as well. Now that 2024 season was the one that was a little bit more active, and of course a little bit more active for us here in central Georgia because that was the one that included Hurricane Helene. So I don't think we're at all upset to see a below average season in the forecast, but why is that the case? Now, this is another thing that you may have heard from meteorologist Ansley Parker last night as she explained what's going on in the atmosphere for this to kind of be the forecast. You may have heard of this before. This is called El Nino and La Nina. It's the ENSO. It's basically oscillation patterns of winds and basically sea surface temperatures. What I'm going to do is take this graphic back. I didn't know it was going to play through that quickly. But what these kind of patterns are is they're two battling patterns with trade winds in the atmosphere and then sea surface temperatures in the Pacific Ocean. So what this graphic is going to walk you through is the difference between those winds and what they do to the sea surface temperatures when one is in play versus the other. So let me kind of play this little graphic through, and then we will jump back to the one that I was just showing. So this is going to show you what an El Nino event would look like, and that is the one we're forecasted to have this upcoming summer. So basically it shows the trade winds blowing east to west, pushing the surface water, the warmer surface water, out towards Asia. So away from the North America and South America, and kind of changing the trade winds in that way. Now, in certain times, we see the opposite happen. So sometimes these trade winds push that warmer water towards South America and keeps it sitting here in the Pacific Ocean. Now that is basically what happens during an El Nino, and it can cause a lot of differences in the weather for us here in the United States. It's kind of a complicated pattern, but it has high impacts on lots of different things that happen around, honestly, the world. But definitely, especially in the weather atmosphere, it has a lot to do with hurricane season and a lot to do with just the typical day-to-day weather that we see here in central Georgia. So this is kind of a typical idea of during an El Nino event, what the weather would look like here across the U.S. Obviously notable, this kind of area here where the Pacific jet ends up pushing a lot of rainfall to the southern states. Now you'll notice there is a dry pocket here in between the polar jet and the Pacific jet. This dry pocket kind of puts us somewhere in between getting a little bit more rainfall and being in this dry pocket. Now, I do think down here in central Georgia, we can kind of expect that that would increase the rainfall here in our area. So switching to an El Nino event actually could be a good thing for us, which is why I was saying, yes, drought conditions may persist for a little bit longer, but if we make this switch to El Nino in the summertime, then we can expect a few more rainfall events to move our way as we head into the fall. So this could end up being a good thing for us, but it is also a good thing for us in the sense that it is going to kind of squash the development of hurricanes this season. It's going to push that warm water to the Pacific, and what that actually ends up doing, it creates really, really high wind shear in our atmosphere, and it makes the Atlantic sea surface temperatures a little bit more mild. So why does wind shear matter at all? Well, basically, wind shear is vertically stacked winds, and what that can do is disrupt different hurricanes or tropical systems that are trying to form. So if a hurricane or a tropical system is trying to come together, it really needs to build up its own winds. But if there's other winds that are coming in at different directions, basically knocking down any of those vertical towers that these tropical systems are attempting to make, that makes it really hard for these systems to organize. So that's what we call wind shear, and that's how that can disrupt tropical systems. It basically throws a bunch of different winds that are moving a bunch of different directions in the way of tropical systems that are attempting to organize. So that's kind of the case as we enter an El Nino. At least for the Atlantic, it is a much different story for the Pacific. It actually can increase the tropical activity in the Pacific, but for us here in the Atlantic, it causes slightly more mild sea surface temperatures and a lot more wind shear, so it kind of interrupts the development of tropical systems. So that was probably a little bit more information than you were bargaining for, but that is kind of why the forecast is a little bit below average for this upcoming hurricane season. And with that, we will kind of keep an eye on what NOAA ends up saying as they release their forecast and see how the 2025 or 2026 season ends up going for us. But for right now, it does look like it's good news for us in the sense that we could potentially be seeing a lower activity hurricane season this year. But with that being said, here is a look at your 7-day forecast. And I mean, you can basically copy and paste most days to one another. It is a boring 7-day forecast. Not a single rain chance for a single day here on the 7-day. I know it's unfortunate for those drought conditions that I just told you, but that is the situation. So while it's here, at least just enjoy the weekend. We'll have beautiful sunny skies for Saturday and for Sunday. Just note, those temperatures are going to be warm, and you already saw all these highs and lows, but you did not get to see the ones for Wednesday and for Thursday. And those are the days that are going to be near 90 degrees. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if when Ben Jones comes in later this afternoon and has to forecast for this upcoming Friday, it's going to be dicey. He might have to end up putting a 90. We'll see what he does here. But earlier this morning, a lot of the models were calling for 90 for the upcoming Friday. So very warm temperatures are going to be on the way to the area for the weekend, and then especially for the end of the work week next week and next weekend. So just kind of be aware of that. But at least for right now, we still got our little Masters background going on. So we've got Masters through the next couple of days. So enjoy that and just enjoy the beautiful weather that we have for the weekend. And we'll kind of keep our eye on what the next possibility for rainfall could be here in the region. With that, that is kind of a look at your extended forecast here. Meteorologist Alex Fry will be back on Monday. And of course, me and Danny DeSilva will be here all weekend long, keeping you informed on the forecast. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you back here on Monday morning.